tremendous looking trophy.
Hello and welcome to Platinum Explosion, the #1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. I'm your host this week, Ashley Hobley. Joining me, Jono Peck.
What's going on, guys?
Not much. Also joined by Jack Cruz.
Plat, plat!
And that's everybody this week. Yeah. I'm sure you've noticed, Kieran, Dylan, not here.
Right.
They're still in their mortal struggle, eternal struggle, to see who will
They're
survive and take control of this show. So they're busy
The
with that
forces
this
of
week.
good versus the forces of evil.
Snuck in while they're
They got-
away and he'll
They
take
both
it.
got stuck in Kieran's mousetrap, so... Yeah, and what a week to miss! This is upcoming, this is like the biggest week of gaming in the whole calendar year. Let me list some
it's
names
crazy.
for you. List some names for you. Destiny 2 on PC. Just Dance
Get out of here with that
2018. Ben 10.
Wow.
Wow.
Rugby 18.
Been waiting for that.
Rugby 18. Hidden Agenda and Knowledge is Power both come out on PS4 as part of the PlayLink series. But of course, the three big names. Mario Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Origins.
PlayStation.
And Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus.
Yeah, Wolfenstein, yeah. Get around that fucking
You know,
shit.
the sad thing is none of us will be able to play it.
Oh, I
when it comes
know.
out.
Yeah,
We've
because
got plans.
pretty much
the
all of us are
worst.
busy.
Yeah.
Nick,
the worst,
Nick
yeah.
and Tom are going to be playing all weekend while Jack is away on vacation.
Yep.
And myself, Jono, Dylan, and Kieran will all be at PAX this coming weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring it on.
Fuck, I can't wait for
So-
Wolfenstein though. I'm so pumped for that game. I
Yeah,
can't
is that-
remember being this excited for a game. Than like Wolfenstein. Like in a while, yeah. Like I reckon the last game I was like fully this excited for was like Metal Gear Solid 5. Like fully pumped for. Like I looked forward to Horizon and
Yeah.
and like Uncharted 4 I really look forward to, but Metal Gear Solid 5 was like the game I was like, I can't wait for this game. Like I cannot wait. And then the like this Wolfenstein has just been like there, like all, and it's so hard because I love the Wolfenstein series, but I've not watched any of the trailers, which is a bit of a travesty because they've all been fantastic from all accounts, like really good marketing and quite funny and clever. And I've watched a couple of ones, but oh god, I cannot wait.
Haven't watched any, but you've watched a
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I've watched.
It just feels like good time. Like there haven't been first-person shooters to write home about this year that I know of. Maybe Resident Evil 7 in that category. It's a different game.
Yeah, it's not really a
regardless.
first-person shooter. I mean, there's
exactly.
first-person and there's shooting elements, but I don't
That's
think
right.
it's
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the kind of game that I'm excited to play.
It's the first one out of the blocks
Definitely.
this year. First big
Yeah, we've got
first-person
COD
shooter.
and
Well, we had Destiny.
Battlefront
We
had-
just had Destiny. Destiny's a pretty
True.
big
That's true,
first-person
yeah.
shooter.
you are correct. But this is something that we'll probably talk about a bit more. But it's a linear
hell
single-player
yeah.
first-person
Oh,
shooter.
hell yeah, we
And that's
will.
something that's so rare at the moment.
So what are you
God,
most
yes.
excited to pick up, Jono, after PAX? What are you going to be
After
digging into?
PAX, I'll be playing Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
I don't have a Switch, so that's not an option.
Yeah.
And Assassin's Creed is, similar to Shadow of War. It's something that I'll happily pick up when I've got the time for it and put the 20, 30, 40 hours into. But it's not something, because it's, those games, I love those kind of games, the open world,
Sandbox.
Ubisoft style games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Checkbox
But-
game.
Yeah, but they're games that can wait for me,
Yeah.
unless it's, Red Dead Redemption or GTA or something. But they can wait because they're not they're never a completely new experience. Well, they haven't been for a long time.
Yeah.
So as much as I love them, I'm looking forward more to something like Wolfenstein, which is a bit more of a rare. It's rare that they're done so well as Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
None of these are really
I hope
my
it sells
games, but-
well.
Yeah, what do you think of the sales are going to be like this week? Because obviously there's 3 huge games coming out the same day. Do you think they're going to all suffer, or is one of them going to be... I think out of those 3, Assassin's Creed is probably the one that is going to probably get looked over.
I think Mario Odyssey will probably sell the most.
Do you think Assassin's Creed will sell well, Ash?
No, I think that will be overlooked. That's the one that's going to not.
Oh
perform.
yeah, for sure.
That's going to
Yeah, yeah.
underperform. Yeah.
I think Mario will obviously. I mean, I think everyone who owns a Switch is getting Mario.
Definitely.
That's not I mean, it's not a huge amount of people, but it's big enough.
It's probably more than will pick up Wolfenstein.
Yeah, for sure.
As good as it is, it's a kind of game that isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
I think what Wolfenstein has for going for it is there's probably that Venn diagram of, you know, the Mario, who's got a Switch, who's buying Mario, to who's buying Wolfenstein. While the hardcore gamers picking up who's got a Switch and a PlayStation or an Xbox is picking up both. There's probably a very large sect that are only getting one or the other, and they sort of don't overlap too much.
Yeah.
So I think Wolfenstein will do well. I think it's I hope it does, because it's a franchise that I absolutely love, and it really does. Machine Games did such a fantastic job with the New Order, and with the old Blood. I've just went back and did my platinum run through for the New Order recently, and that game's still awesome. Like that was a game. There was a launch window PS4 game, also on PS3, was just amazing. Like, still holds
You
up.
didn't get the plat, did you?
In the New Order, yeah, I got it.
You got both.
Yeah, I got New Order and Old Blood now. I just got the New Order a couple weeks ago. Yeah, no, I did.
Man.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, brother.
Plat.
Plat indeed. So, still holds up though. Like 100%, still as good as it was the first day I played it. The combat is super tight. It looks great. It's brutal, and just seeing some snippets of gameplay from the trailers of the new Colossus. Oh fuck! I can't
trailers
wait.
You've seen, yeah.
The little bits and
think-
pieces, yeah.
It couldn't be more topical as well. Like the amount of Nazi hate that is out there, especially in
Oh, it's gonna be
the
so
gaming
good.
in the
Yeah.
gaming world. Like, it's gonna be built up so much, and if it's as good as we want it to be, it'll be just even better. I think.
I think probably the thing working for these three games is they're all quite different to one another. So hopefully they
Yeah,
don't eat
for
each other's
sure.
lunch. Yeah.
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 I've worried.
It's not like two similar games coming out at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think Assassin's Creed. I think even after the year off, I don't think Assassin's Creed has the. I mean, that there doesn't seem to be the hype train behind it. The earlier game, probably Black Flag was the last one that really had a super was people were hyped for, like pirates and stuff. Yeah, and then we had Syndicate, and then
Unity for
Rogue, Rogue and Unity came out at the same time.
Yeah, Rogue and
there was
Unity.
no hype. There was almost no hype at all from
Yeah.
my memory, because even though there was two of them,
Yeah, and those games didn't do as well as the as 3 or Black Flag or 2 or Brotherhood or any in Revelations.
That's why I think that Origins could actually be like a surprise, Game of the Year contender, because no one's really talking about it.
Yeah.
By comparison, and I think because we know how good Ubisoft is as a developer, I think having that time off, it's going to be something that we haven't seen from the previous few Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah,
And anyone that played or watched demos at E3 seemed to be really impressed. So I think for an Assassin's Creed game to impress people who've seen everything by now, it has to have something that makes it stand out.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think that's probably going to be the one that does the worst, but it could be it could be a long burn for Assassin's Creed Origins. I think it could do similar to when Shadow of Mordor first came out. It was sort of that sleeper hit. No one was really paying attention to it, but it got crazy good reviews, and then people went and bought it later. They're like, I've got to play this game, and it sort of came home strong towards the end of the year, won a heap of Game of the Year nods. So Origins could potentially do that.
Yeah. It's like Mad Max. It came out at a time that everyone overlooked it because it was the same time as I don't know,
came out
Batman
the same day as Metal Gear Solid 5.
That's it. Yeah.
That's
and it's like I said, it's a game that, because there's so many, you don't feel compelled to play it immediately unless that's your Mad Max as a franchise is your thing.
Yeah.
So
I don't know
it'll
who-
have a similar effect.
I don't know that Mad Max is anyone's franchise. I mean, I'm sure unless they're
I know. I got a
in
day
their
one.
late 30s.
But that was because it came with the Blu-ray for Fury Road as well.
Fury
so
Road, I remember that.
Kind of
yeah.
sold it.
I still haven't played Mad Max.
Some people aren't haven't played Metal Gear Solid 5 as well. Remember?
Yeah,
So
that's
sort
true.
of
Certainly
maybe
nobody
picked it
on
up.
this podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
No, we wouldn't allow that.
No.
No, we
So those are the games that are coming out this week, but let's talk about some games that have come out. So the biggest game last week was South Park: The Fractured But Whole. And I believe you, Jono Peck, have been playing the hell out of that game.
I have, yeah. I got 70% of the trophies, which is a good indication that I'm towards the end of the game, I think. Which is actually an interesting thing. I keep thinking I'm near the end, but it keeps going.
That's what I've heard.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. It's and that happened a little bit with the first one, but it's the way that it's building up. You get to like a boss, and you're like, okay, this has to be it, and then it just keeps going, which is actually a very welcome thing because the game's that good to me. Like, I don't want it to end as much as it's kind of like I was thinking. I've gone to see some of my favorite bands before, and they've played like really long sets, and it's getting towards the end, and I'm kind of like, I'm sitting here watching one of my favorite bands, but I kind of want it to end so I can go home because I'm tired. And that's a little bit what I'm like with South Park. Like, on one hand, the game is so good, I'm enjoying it. I want it to keep going. But I also want to finish it because I know that Wolfenstein's coming and I want to get the platinum, and I have to do a few clean-up tasks at the end to get the platinum. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But how does it compare to the first?
Yeah.
So, compared to the first one, I actually prefer the combat with the grid system they've brought in. It makes things a lot more interesting than just selecting the same move or whatever over and over,
the turn-based
which
type.
became a tendency in the first one. It's not as funny to me. Like, the first one is, probably the funniest game ever. And this one, for some reason, the jokes didn't hit as much. There's nothing that's I've been offended by or anything. But I don't know if it's just that there's an element of having seen it before, or, the kids playing, like, role-playing or whatever. It's not as much of a surprise, all the tropes that they're making fun of with this one. Or maybe the jokes aren't as good. I don't know. It's hard to kind of compare them. Because I actually played Stick of Truth earlier this year on the PlayStation 4 version to get the platinum, and it held up the second time through. Like,
yeah,
there wasn't any, like, I wasn't skipping any cutscenes or anything. But I'm not sure this one would hold up again, playing it again. Having said that, yeah, I've loved it. It's definitely in my top 10 list for the year. Exactly where, I'm not sure it will fall, but yeah, it's a hard thing to do because it's essentially the same map, being South Park. And, even the years that have passed since the first game came out, there's been a lot of changes on the TV show that are implemented in the map, which is good, and new characters and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they've done a decent enough job of making it feel kind of new, but there's a lot that's having to be reused, and there's nothing that, because it's so true to the show in the style, they aren't able to revamp it in any major way, I guess.
Is it just that superhero parody has been maybe a little bit overplayed, like in media in general?
Yeah, it might be that. That element of it hasn't been, like, I don't really think that superhero versus role-playing is an inferior thing to parody.
But it's more, that would have been more fertile
know.
ground when they did it originally, maybe.
Yeah. There was a moment last night when I was going to bed and thinking about this game, and I was like, we are so lucky to have this game.
Yeah.
Like, the first one was such an arduous
It took forever.
Process of publishing, and this one even got delayed, and just the fact that they made this game, we don't deserve it, really. Like, it has no business being this good.
Yeah.
And it has no business, working as well as it does. And
is it glitchy at all? Because I remember the first one had its issues.
I had one freeze where I had to reset last night, and apart from that, I don't think I've come across there's nothing game breaking. There's certainly, like, sometimes, like, there's been a couple of times where my character has died, where I was like, there were still people left in my party, and it comes up saying game over. So I was like, that's kind of weird. Maybe it was a mechanic I wasn't
aware of,
explained or something, but I think that may have been a glitch. Yeah. But I'm sure by the time you get to it, it'll be fixed.
Hope so.
Yeah. Well, the other big release from the last couple of weeks was Evil Within 2 from Bethesda. And Jack, you've been playing that. Streaming it even.
I have been. Yeah, I've been playing it on stream, which has been good fun. Helps me play through it. So yeah, Evil Within, published by Bethesda. Tango Works is the developer. Follow up to obviously the 2014 game Evil Within. I can't remember being so disappointed by a game that I've enjoyed as much as I have. It is
What?
This one?
Yeah, with this game, yeah. I cannot remember being... Let me repeat that. I cannot remember ever being as disappointed as I am with a game that I've enjoyed so much.
Right.
That
makes sense.
It is a...
No, it doesn't.
It is truly a dilemma, this game. I don't know whether I like it or love it or hate it. So... The Evil, and my review will reflect this. This is my first game review, and it's the most bipolar thing that I've ever been a part of. My first written review, anyway. It's my first written review, and it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So the Evil Within 1, and I've spoken about it a few times on this show, was a really special game for me. That is the scariest game I've ever played. It is the creepiest game I've ever played. The story was nonsense. The protagonist was nonsense. Terrible character, terribly written dialogue. The story comes together sort of at the end. The end of the game was really fell flat in the first game. But
Sounds like a lot of horror movies.
Yeah, very
bad acting.
Yeah, a lot of
bad
tropes.
ending.
Yeah. And such an unfortunate, because it could have been a masterpiece if not for those sort of couple of little things. But the journey and everything in between, everything else about the Evil Within 1 was absolutely amazing. It was terrifying, creepy. It was like the environments were just scary as all hell. The enemies were diverse and creepy and really creative and like terrifying. And they were the best things about the Evil Within 1. The enemies, which were really different, really creative, and really, really scary and tension building. And the environments were diverse and different and fucking scary. Like, that is the only way it's just like you're walking down a corridor, the sounds, the noise, the creaks, everything. Like, it was just amazing. It was an amazing experience. It took me a month and a half to finish the Evil Within 1. And it wasn't a long game. I think I clocked into like 20 hours, but it took me nearly 2 months almost to finish the game. Because I could not play it for longer than half an hour max, because it was that scary that I was just like, I can't. Like, it caused me that much anxiety. The Evil Within 2 starts in a very similar vein. I won't go into super in-depth the story, but there's more coherent story in this one. Still sort of nonsense. There's something that happens right at the start that almost... it happens to... So, spoilers for the Evil Within 1. Does anyone here care?
No, we both not horror fans, so
okay, cool.
We're never going to play
spoilers for the Evil Within 1. Skip ahead a couple of minutes. Basically, you get the Evil Within 1. You're in this creepy world. You're changing environments all the time. It's very supernatural and scary. Basically, it turns out at the end of the game, you're in like a Matrix type machine. That's like everything has been in your head, basically. Evil Within 2 starts. Yeah. Really bad ending. Evil Within 2 starts, and basically you're assigned to go back into this machine to save the world of the people that are inside it or whatever. Which really took away from what made the first game special. You had no idea what the fuck was going on. You're getting flown around the place. There's creepy monsters. It's just like the world's falling apart. You're like, what is going on here? This is crazy. And it takes something away from it going into the second one, because you know that it's not real. It sort of almost is like, well, I'm not going to get scared by this because I know that you're not real. Like, I don't, even though, in talking marks.
Like when you realize you're in a dream and you're like, oh, this is only a dream.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So it's sort of like straight from the start, it's sort of like, oh, that's disappointing. but it's still creepy. Like, the game starts off in a very similar way to the first game. You're in like a haunted, well, not haunted, but you're in like a creepy house, and you're walking through, and it's dark, and you got your flashlight, and you got no weapons, and you're getting chased by a monster or whatever, and super scary, heaps of tension, a couple of jump scares, which got me because I'm a big baby. And then the game basically changes, and it becomes like an open world game. And you flipped into which is completely different to the first game. The first game was 100, like very linear, had like open areas, but they were all like, here's a little open hub, move through, like kill the enemies and work your way through. Not like an open world hub area where there's like side missions and stuff. So, it's been a battle there's a lot of issues with the game. It's really fun. The story is better than the first game, but it's still not great. The protagonist is probably the worst character. I hate him. Like, I hate him so much. It's terribly written. It's terribly written dialogue performed by a less than subpar voice actor.
It's bad.
It's
Even
like
just watching your stream for like an hour.
It's almost to the point of parody, where he's just being chased by like a crazy monster with a like a razor blade as an arm, and he goes. He's like stops. He's like, something's not right here. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, you idiot?
There's something I can't put my finger on.
Yeah, it's really terrible. It's really, really bad. I don't know whether it's really because it's Japanese developers and directors and that. Shinji Mikami, who directed the first game, who obviously is like the mastermind behind Resident Evil, I think he's still involved in this, but he's not directing it. He's not has the full involvement, and you can 100% tell. Some of my biggest issues with the game are there's nowhere near as many decent, scary environments. Like, you're in there's a couple of like underground places you go into, and then like a couple of houses, but the rest is like you're in like a town basically. And the enemies. Like, where are all the enemies? There is like 3 enemy types in this whole game. You've got like the same 3 character models for like the zombie type enemies. Same 3, like the whole game. The dude, the chick, and then the sort of bloated guy. And then you've got like one chick with a knife, and then like this thing that spits at you. And that's it. And there's like a dog gun. Like, one of the greatest things about the first game was there's so many awesome, like terrifying, creepy monsters and ghouls and dudes with chainsaws and, fucking crazy bosses. The bosses have all been really, uninspired. But I am really like, and this is the thing. All I really have to say about the game are negatives. But I am really still enjoying it, and it still does build the tension really well. So it has still got that element of you're in like a creepy, like some of the scariest parts of the game. No enemies. Like, I went through parts where I'm like sneaking through like a house, and I'm like crouched down the whole time, and I'm like walking through, I'm waiting for the jump scare, going through like a little passageway or whatever, and I can hear little creaks and like footsteps. I'm like, oh, I'm getting scared, and I'm like running through to the next area. I'm like, there was no enemies. And it's like its environmental storytelling is still really top notch. It's just the first game was so special and was just really well done in those aspects, and it's just missing that polish. It's definitely not as challenging either. You can tell they've tried to make the game a lot more accessible for the general public, obviously by adding these like open world type areas and side missions and this kind of thing. To at the very start of the game, before you start, you're given like your difficulty options, and basically they've got so like normal for the first game was fucking super hard. I died like 300 times in the first game. Like, it tells you at the end, it's like you died this amount of many times. But the second game, it tells you it's like, this super hard difficulty there, or like, they've got normal or like easy, normal, hard. And like, they're like hard, this is equivalent to normal of the first game. And then normal is like easy basically from the first game, and then easy is like super easy. So they really nerfed it. They've definitely tried to make it more accessible for the general gaming populace. I think to a fault, because it really has taken some of the charm away from the game, and Shinji Mikami having less of an input has really hurt it as well, I think. So it's a shame.
How far away are you from finishing?
So I think there's 15 chapters. I'm at the end of like chapter 12, so I've got like 3 or 4 chapters left. I've probably got 3 or 4 hours, so I'll try and finish it off tomorrow night before I go away on Wednesday. I want to have it done before I go away.
When can I expect the review on my desk?
I will finish it on the plane, I reckon. I'll finish it on the plane on Wednesday.
It's interesting that you started writing the review before you finished the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started
You don't
writing
know,
it.
maybe the ending will make you love it.
Like I said, man, it's like the most
ruin everything.
bipolar. Well, I started writing my thoughts down as like the game, as I sort of started working with the game, and I've added to it as I've gone along. So, otherwise, I'd get to the end of the game, I'll forget everything.
Makes sense.
It's helped. It's my process, I've found. But
Right.
I am still really enjoying it. If I hadn't played the first game, I think it would be a completely fine survival horror game. But I think it's weighed down by the by how special the first game was. Definitely.
Awesome. Well, that was Evil Within 2. Let's move on to the massive story of the week. So I think it was Wednesday. Jason Schreier
Wednesday
broke
our
on
time,
Kotaku.
yep.
Wednesday Australian time, the only time that matters. Broke on Kotaku that EA was shutting down Visceral Games. So
Crazy, man.
Yeah, Visceral had been working on a first-person... No, hang on, what is it? An action-adventure title set in the Star Wars universe.
The Amy
headed
Hennig
by Amy Hennig game, who everybody knows from Uncharted. And yeah.
Yeah, it was basically pitched as Uncharted Star Wars.
Yeah.
Really.
So they've been working on it since 2013. They've been showing bits and pieces the last couple of E3s, but apparently it just hasn't been working out. And pretty much EA have said that they're going to refocus and redevelop the game with other EA developers and are shutting down the studio. So
This is terrible, man. This is the worst news.
Such a huge decision.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the thought and struggle that went on. Because it's not just saying, let's change the direction of this game. It's not just that. It's all these people that specialize in making this kind of game. You're done. We don't want anything more from you. We have no use for you.
yeah.
Yeah, and they shift it to the... So the statement was... I mean, the writing was on the wall exactly why. Like, it was pretty clear from that statement why, what and why, and, what this game is going to now become or, be evolved into and why they've made the change. And I think that the quote was something like, we've noticed, the evolution of the marketplace or changes in the marketplace, something along those lines. And basically, what I read from that as a, jaded sort of person when I get, a developer like this, that I really like Dead Space. I thought they were a great game. I really like Battlefield Hardline, which these guys are involved with as well. It read to me, it reeked of, this is not profitable for us to do a linear, and they said that, it was a linear, we want to make this open for, multiplayer or whatever. It was a linear single player game with no replay value. So basically what they see that is, and it's a shame because it's a business decision, right? They don't care what the gamers want because the market tells them that the gamers want a and what's going to sell well is a game like Destiny, a game like The Division. They're probably going to look at what are the best-selling games over the last couple of years. They're going to go Destiny, Destiny 2, The Division, Grand Theft Auto, which continues to sell because of its online multiplayer. And then, they're going to go, okay, where's Uncharted 4 in that? And it's, while it's sold really well, it's right down, 15th behind all of them.
Is it, though?
I don't think it is.
For an exclusive?
I'm talking, in the... It's for the exclusive. I think it's the best-selling PS4 exclusive. I'm talking, games in general, right? I think if you look at all the games over the last few years, the multiplayer bloody, what's it called?
Games for service is
Overwatch, yeah.
Games for service is what everybody's talking about. So
yeah, which is really bad. So it's so bad because it's it's not bad. I mean, it's so hard to think because it's what the market is saying that this is what's going to be profitable. It's not this is a $60 or whatever it is in here, like a $90 game. Johnny goes in on a Friday, buys $90 game, plays through the weekend, game finishes, takes it back, trades it in, goes and buys something else, and then someone comes in and buys it pre-owned on Monday, for $10 less, and EA gets not a cent for that. And they see that as an opportunity lost as a sale where they could go, we can put something out like Battlefront or something of the like, where it's got multiplayer, It's got a single player element, but it's mainly a multiplayer game. It has microtransactions, so it can continue to provide us revenue once we've actually sold the game, and it's going to have a longer staying period with that customer. They're going to hang on to it for a few months because they're going to be playing it with their friends. They're going to get addicted to the multiplayer. It's got longer staying value than a one and done single player campaign, which really sucks. If this is the way the market's going, it really sucks because for the majority who probably don't give a fuck and aren't into the minutiae like we are, they don't care. They don't know the difference. They wouldn't even know that they wouldn't know what Visceral Games is. Yeah. But they'll see a Star Wars game come out and be like, oh, cool, Star Wars, oh, multiplayer, sweet. And they'll grab that and with COD and Madden and FIFA that they play, the 4 games a year that they buy. But it sucks for us who, unfortunately, we're in the minority. Like, we're the minority of the market, but we're the most dialed in and the most passionate about this market and this industry. And we're the ones that are going to suffer for it, which sucks.
Yeah.
So why? Yeah, the question for me is why couldn't they just finish this game, and then do their Star Wars Destiny separately? Because, I mean, it's not like it's not going to sell. It's not like they're not going to make money on it. Maybe they make more money on the Destiny version of it, which is what they still could have done. Because, obviously Naughty Dog's making some money. They're doing okay. That's only on one platform. And this could have been multi-platform for all we know. But
you look at some of the biggest names this year. The biggest games this year. Zelda, that's single player.
Yeah.
Horizon Zero Dawn, that's single player. Crash Bandicoot, that was a huge hit. That was single player.
Yeah. Mario and Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
And Assassin's
Resident
Creed
Evil 7 was big.
Will
yeah. So
are they actually have you got actual sales numbers or?
Yeah,
are you just saying like these are the big games that came out? Because
the sales numbers I've got are not multi-platform, but they're per platform and they're the highest. Let me bring back up.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's the sales. It's not how much money that game has made. So something like GTA, even it's done. Yeah, it's sold well, and they've made money from microtransactions. And Destiny might not have sold as well, but it's making money through people buying.
I think
colored outfits.
I think EA would look at it as like it's the opportunity cost. It's like, okay, we can let this game go out, and it's probably going to run over budget. It's probably because of Amy's attention to detail and her I guess I don't know her perfectionist.
Hard work.
All that. It's probably going to run probably over date. It's going to be delayed. It's going to run over budget, and then the game comes out, and there's probably a really good chance it sells really well, but there's a slight chance it doesn't, and that opportunity cost for EA to go, we could run at a loss on this game, even if it sells 5 million copies, we could run at a loss, or we can scrap it now, cut our losses, relocate a few people, dissolve the assets, and give it to EA Vancouver, I think who it is that's taking it over, and turn it into Destiny and have it out in 2019 and smash it with it, and then sell 10 million copies against the 5 that we have and probably have a lesser development cost.
Yeah. There's 2 things I want to say. The first one is Star Wars as Destiny 2 actually sounds pretty cool.
I'd have it.
I'd be actually pretty keen to play that. I wish it wasn't at the cost of this linear
I know, it
story,
sucks.
this linear game. But at the same time, there must be some fault for Visceral in this, because from what Jason Schreier has tweeted out since then, the game has actually been somewhat of a mess. It's hard for us on the outside to say this percentage of blame should go to Visceral and the rest of it's just EA being EA. We don't really know that. We probably won't know until Jason Schreier writes another book. Or does some kind of crazy investigative journalism with the probably the masses of developers that are out of a job and probably willing to talk if they don't have NDAs against them. But I think that if this game was handled as well as Naughty Dog games seem to have been handled, and it came out, it hadn't been delayed, it didn't take 9 years to make this game, then we probably would see it, and that sucks as well.
The whole thing's just shitty, and obviously thoughts go out to everyone who's lost their jobs. Visceral's not a small developer.
Totally. It's massive.
And, it's really sad. And it's a developer with a pretty good heritage and legacy. Like the Dead Space games 1 and 2 were great. I didn't play 3. From all accounts, it was a bit of a disappointment. I really enjoyed Battlefield Hardline. I thought it was really fun. I thought the story was great for what it was. It was sort of almost not even a Battlefield game. It was almost something a little bit different because it had like a interesting story to it. It was almost just like a first person story sort of driven game. The whole.
Can you imagine leaving Naughty Dog, leaving Uncharted 4 to work on this game, getting pulled across, and then spend however many years on it just for it to be taken away? It would be so hard to come back from.
Yeah.
I don't know what Amy Hennig's going to do next.
It doesn't sound like she's being kept on
he's
this.
talking with EA.
No, I don't.
Apparently, the EA's talking with her about what she's going to do
Yeah.
next. But that's
just looking at some of the stuff that she's retweeted. It's like
yeah,
I
she's
get
not
the
keen to
sense
stick
that
around.
There's love lost. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
No love lost.
For sure. And she's probably a little
sure.
bit... She probably feels... I mean, a lot of the talk is that, like you said, the game's a bit of a mess, and a bit of blame has to probably fall on Visceral, and probably some of it on her as well as the lead on the game. But she probably feels like she's been sold a lemon as well. She's come over here. She's been, sold the world in that she's going to have her own team and head up this studio, take over the studio, as lead on this game, and build her own Star Wars game. And she probably hasn't got. It felt maybe she hadn't had the caliber or the quality of talent there that they had at Naughty Dog, and they haven't been able to cope.
EA's just like had their fingers in the pot a bit too much, trying to make too many changes, or not letting her have her own vision.
EA, Disney, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of
that have been
stakeholders
trying to influence this.
Yeah, for sure.
And she has expressed trepidation about going there because of that. Like she was afraid that could happen. And looks like her fears have been justified. But it's crazy. Like I was looking through her tweets, and like 2 days or the day before they closed the studio, she was tweeting something positive about working with people in the team, like a happy birthday to this guy who's doing great work on this game or whatever it was, and then bang, just
so sad, man.
And it's it's the sad thing for us is that it's a sign of things to come. Like Ken Levine's studio, was it Irrational? They're gone.
Yeah.
And so many
BioWare Montreal
developers
just the other month got merged with Motive, and Motive was also working on this project as well. So it kind of throws a lot of EA's stuff,
and look at
all over the place. Yeah,
and even just like the failure of something like
Andromeda,
Mass Effect Andromeda, and it's like, okay, next Mass Effect game is probably going to be Destiny clone as well.
Well, it's that BioWare have got what's it called? The game they revealed at E3. Everyone was getting up and about.
Anthem.
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 So if Anthem tanks, that's bye BioWare.
Isn't Anthem?
Anthem is a Destiny.
Also,
is a Destiny.
A Destiny thing.
Destiny game. Yeah. So if that does tank, then
we're just calling them Destiny games.
Yeah, if that doesn't perform, then EA's whole business model is kind of going to be reduced to their yearly sports games.
Yeah, well, that's probably what's making the money at the moment.
Yeah. And it's also disappointing on the back that this game pretty much killed Project 1313 back in the day. Yeah, because that apparently George Lucas pitched that game to Motive to take it over when the purchase Lucasfilm got purchased. So
yeah,
I mean, it's been a crazy
LucasArts,
yeah. It's been a crazy 2 years for cancellations of games. I mean, Fable Legends got cancelled all of a sudden. Scalebound got cancelled 2 months before it was coming out. I mean,
oh man,
yeah. It'll be interesting just to hear this story.
What was the other Crackdown? Did Crackdown get cancelled?
No, Crackdown is still coming. It's been delayed again. It is coming out, hopefully, for Xbox.
Yeah. Sure.
For Kieran's sake.
Yeah, it is. It's like, of all the things and all the negatives, the thing that sucks the most is we could have had a single player story driven Star Wars game.
Yep.
That is the thing that is the most painful of all this. That is a game that we could have had.
And
It
everybody
was like,
wanted it.
that was our 13-13. That's what everyone wanted. It could have been our 13-13. Everyone was so shattered. They're like 13-13 scrapped. Like, fuck. And then we find out later it was a Boba Fett game. It's like, fuck. And then now this, and we're like, okay, cool. We get this. Maybe it's dash render. Maybe it isn't. And then boom, gone. So,
Man, what if Amy Hennig comes out tomorrow and says it was going to be the Dash Render origin story?
oh, kill. I'll fucking kill. I swear to God.
Go up
This is
to
too
EA.
depressing.
Oh.
This is too sad.
Oh no, it's so bad. I feel bad. I feel bad for everyone involved.
Yeah.
It really does suck.
It's just a shitty story.
Yeah, no doubt.
Cool. Well, I guess moving on to the mail segment for this week, which Dylan has called Mail Ding. I don't know.
What?
Dylan,
Okay.
Dylan,
Isn't it
when you're in that mousetrap, you
email
need to come up
counts,
with some
isn't
better ideas. Yep. So another
terrible,
Michael
Dylan.
email.
Sort it out.
Thank you very much for emailing us. You can
Thank you,
email
Michael.
us.
Michael Code.
Platinum at explosionnetwork.com.
ExplosionNetwork.com.
Email. Yep. His question for this week is: before you could afford to buy a console, which person gave you one or had access to one? So, does that make sense?
It's very specific.
Or
So
who owned the
before
first
you owned a
console you
console-
played?
I play. I mean, the first ever video game I played was my Game Boy, and that was like given to me. So I played that before. I don't know if you count that as like console. So
Yeah.
technically, it's a handheld.
Yeah.
But, our next door neighbor Sid had a PlayStation, and I remember playing like the original, maybe it was like Ridge Racer or something like that, on PlayStation back in like 1996. That was the first one I played. But then and my next door neighbor one of my next door neighbors had like a SNES, and you play like Mortal Kombat and Mega Man. But I got my 64 not long after that.
Yeah.
I don't recall playing a console before my Sega Mega Drive was purchased back in 93 or 94. But I mean, for the sake of answering this question, when I was at uni, Grand Theft Auto 4 came out, and my friend had a PlayStation 3, and I didn't, so I borrowed his PlayStation 3, and I finished Grand Theft Auto 4 in like one weekend. What? It was like a long weekend.
Jeez.
It was, yeah. And then I gave it back to him
cray
until
cray.
Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, and I got my own PlayStation 3.
It's cray cray.
Forked out that $900. Yeah.
Yeah,
No?
I got it for my birthday that year,
Yeah?
2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got the fat PS3.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a Super Nintendo like very early, like I was 5 or 6, and then got the Nintendo 64 pretty much as soon as it came out, and then yeah. So I never really. I mean, my friend had a Nintendo 64 and we'd play his as well, but I never like borrowed a console from somebody else. But the two memories this brings up is my dad had a PC and he would play the original Wolfenstein, and I would just sit like behind him and watch him play, go around killing Nazis and stuff. And the other place that I would
The original like 3D
Yeah.
one, because apparently Nick pointed out there was like a 2D version.
that's fake news. Yeah, the original 3D. And then the other one, back in the day at like department stores or Toys R Us, they would have like booths where you could demo games.
Oh yeah.
So I remember going to Toys R Us and playing Crash Dummies or something like ridiculous, or going to Maya and playing Mario Sunshine, which is the only place I ever play that game on the GameCube. And yeah, so those are the only consoles I can think of that weren't mine that I'd play on.
Interesting.
Yeah. So moving on to everybody's.
Thank you, Michael. We might have to name the segment after Michael if he's the only one that's asking any questions.
Yeah. Michael's mailbag.
Michael's mailbag.
So any other hardcore fans who don't want this segment named after Michael, you better start sending us some emails. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So on to our next segments.
Every trophy
Trophy counts. That's right. So South Park trophies. How are they, Jono?
They're really good. It's the same kind of stuff from the first game. The great thing about this is that there's apparently no missable trophies.
They got rid of the... Have you got the whatever mon from the first one?
Yeah, like the Chin Pokemon from the first one. There was a ton where if you missed them...
I think there was one on the UFO, wasn't there? That
Yeah, the
Yeah, it was
UFO
like
one.
The UFO.
Yeah,
there
that
was
son of a bitch.
other couple other missable ones, and there were friends. Like you got the Facebook friends in the first one, and if you missed them at some point, they weren't there anymore, and you just couldn't get them. This one, it looks like you can do all of it after the game's finished, so that there's no problem there. That's smart. I like that they've fixed that. Makes it a lot less stressful when you're playing. You don't have to have the guide out, which I didn't the first time, but when I did my platinum run on PS4, I did, which is great. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of funny trophies, and I won't spoil anything, but good trophy list. Well done to. I'm going to just say Matt and Trey. I'm sure they had a lot to do with it.
They did it. I'm sure.
In
In between filming episodes of South Park, they put their trophy lists together.
Yeah.
What about the Evil Within 2?
There is
Jack?
one trophy. I'll just say before we move on, there is a trophy for finishing the game as a black character on the hardest combat difficulty, which is the one that if you might not know at the start of the game, that's the kind of missable one.
Yeah, you have to start it off.
The one you have to replay the game to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to have to play the whole game again for one trophy.
Is it being a black character really that... Was it a joke in the end, or was it? Does it actually affect the game in any way?
Because I've got nothing. I've got nothing to compare it to. It does affect it. Morgan Freeman's in the game, and he gave me a like afro pick or something, like an afro comb for my hair, and he says something about like us black guys have to stick together or something like that along those lines.
Okay.
And there's a lot of part of the story is revolving around police officers' corrupt approach to black people. So there's like kind of race thing there. But there's also a section of the game where you have to identify your race for your character card. Sticking with that RPG, like Dungeons and Dragons approach, I guess. And they've done that in an interesting way as well. Same with the gender. There's like transgender options and all this kind of thing. So yeah, that's not trophy related. So
yeah. So move on, Jack. Evil Within 2 trophies. Oh
yeah. They're very similar to the first. Very similar to the first game.
Just putting your headphones in, Jack.
Yeah, I just took my headphones out for the last couple of minutes, so I didn't want to know any of what Jono was saying.
I didn't spoil anything, surely.
No.
So they're very, very similar to the first game. There's difficulty trophies, so if you want to do it in one playthrough, you need to play on the hardest difficulty, which is normal difficulty from the first game, but you will die a lot. I would recommend doing that. No, I played on the normal difficulty. I won't go for the platinum of this. There is missable trophies. There's a lot tied to, and I don't believe there's chapter select. So there's a lot tied to do a specific thing at a specific point in the story. Like, in this section, chapter, whatever, sneak through unnoticed. Or, don't kill this enemy. Or make sure you kill this enemy. And then there's, the standard... Kill 60 enemies. Kill 10 enemies. Electrocute 2 enemies at once. Upgrade the handgun fully. Upgrade the shotgun fully. Upgrade your health fully. Upgrade stealth, perk, all that kind of stuff. So pretty sort of standard type video. I like trophy lists like that, where that's sort of like my ideal. If this game...
Wolfenstein,
if this was a game that I would want to... Because this is not a game I would play through twice. Because it is a struggle. Because I get like serious anxiety playing these games because I'm a bit of a baby. But if this wasn't a game, like this is the kind of play like trophy list that I like. It's do the stuff to build your stats up, upgrade everything to its max, and then there's like specific things like kill this many enemies or kill them in a certain way or do this many stealth kills and stuff like that. It gives you a reason to do stuff or find the collectibles and that kind of thing. Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, I think the trophy list is really good if you've got the cojones to play it a couple of times through, or just the once if you want. But
and do it properly.
Missable trophies. Yeah.
How's the Shadow of War trophy hunt going?
Yeah. It's not. I don't think it's too bad. I think there's just a couple of odd ones where you have to kill certain enemies in a certain way, kill a captain with a Karagor or something. So yeah, I think it's not too bad. I haven't been paying too much attention, but pretty far into it now. gotten to Act 4, which is the grindy part apparently, but
Okay.
so it should be interesting.
The loot box part.
Yep. So if I'm poor at PAX, that's why
How is
I
that?
got sucked in.
How is that? Is it really grindy now that you're at that point and you need loot boxes and whatever?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just you have to work your way. You just have to build up your army, sort of level up your captains and that sort of thing. But
So you're telling me that the internet overreacted to something?
yes,
That is
Unheard of. Unheard of.
and
shocking.
believe it or not, the end of Act 3 is not the end of the game. That can't be. I'm pretty sure it's not the end of the game, and there's a secret ending at the end of Act 4.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll see about that.
But
Oh, man.
I could be wrong because I haven't gotten to the end. But I've read
Do you have upcoming...
Yes, I
you have
do.
The trophy releases? Yeah.
COD World War II. The trophy list is out. Apparently, it is just a standard COD list. Bunch of single player stuff,
Right.
veteran difficulty, some multiplayer stuff, Reach Prestige 1, and some zombie stuff. So, surprisingly,
Some
that's out next
single-player
week.
trophies.
That's out.
That no one will get except for me.
Yeah, November 3rd. It's kind of
I don't-
snuck up on us. I think. No
Oh,
one's ever
wait.
really
That's
talked
one of
about
the get a physical platinum trophy games.
Yes, it is. So that's part of the PlayStation Plus Trophy Hunters program. That's the third one in that program. I don't know if anybody's gotten the GT one yet, but the Platinum and
I
GT.
doubt
but
it. There's some hella hours you got.
yeah, you've got to put that. Like I said last week, you've got to put a lot of time into that one. Also released this week, Knowledge is Power and Hidden Agenda. They're both the two PlayLink games. Plus, they also released the trophy list for Planet of the Apes: First Frontier, which doesn't have a release date yet, but is surprised. So that's a bit of a surprise that that's out. They've all
Does it
got
have a platinum?
platinums. Yes, they do all have platinums, Jack.
Fantastic. I'm
Fantastic.
glad to know that. That's fantastic for all the trophy hunters out there, I guess.
Yeah,
I have a trophy story, if I can tell it.
Yeah, of course. This is Every Trophy Counts. The segment
Yeah,
about trophies.
I'm disappointed that Dylan and Tom aren't here to appreciate this, but I recently acquired a platinum trophy. But it's probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, but I've been waiting to tell the story. Haven't been on Plat for a while. You might be surprised what the game is, but I got the Game of Thrones platinum trophy.
Oh, really?
Telltale.
The person who doesn't watch Game of Thrones at all got
Yeah.
the Telltale game.
Exactly.
What'd you
What
think?
did you think of it?
Don't know. Didn't really pay attention. to
You
be
just
honest.
clicked through?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
you
was.
suck.
I just had the game going while I was editing podcasts or listening to podcast, whatever I was doing. I just had the game going, and sometimes I would just let it run for 15
Yeah,
minutes.
because you can
and-
not answer questions and stuff.
Yeah, you just don't answer questions, and unless it gets to a combat scene or a scene where you have to
Engaged.
find someone at a party and talk to them. I just let it go. And there was a few of those moments and it's actually a really long Telltale game. Like I think every episode is like 2 hours instead of 90 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Jeez,
And I think there might be 6 episodes. It's longer than the definitely longer.
Maybe
than
just
the ones
felt
that come
longer
out
because
these
you
days.
weren't invested and not paying attention.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
possible. That is
Jeez.
possible.
But yeah, I thought I was kind of like, I'm not someone that often plays a game just for the trophies, except for like some Vita games. But this is my first platinum that you could put on that kind of shame list of I just did it for the trophies because I didn't pay attention. Don't really know what happened. Kind of have a vague idea of some of the characters and the power struggles, but yeah, pretty happy with the effort there.
I don't think I have one of those games. I don't think I have a shame game in my list of trophies.
Well, you don't play enough. You don't have enough game time to have a shame game.
Yeah,
do you?
but well, even before that, like all of my majority of my platinums were like pre-fatherhood, I guess. I don't have like my first platinum was The Walking Dead, and that's sort of a cop out
It's
or
a
whatever.
gimme.
Yeah, it's a gimme.
It's not a shame game though.
No, it's not. But it's not like
It's an awesome game. Yeah.
and like but like Rayman, Rayman Origins was like a really tough platinum, but that was awesome. Assassin's Creed 2,
Yeah. Did you say Rayman?
Rayman, the infamous
Said
game.
Rayman. Like
Rayman.
everybody loves Rayman.
Everybody loves Rayman. Like I've got like Far Cry platinums.
Sales
The
prove
Order.
that they don't.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah. I
like,
mean,
don't-
I'm the same as you, Jack. Like up until this game, I didn't have any like that. But I just thought it would be interesting to see like how hard it would be to just not pay any attention to a game and get the platinum.
Yeah, fair enough.
Wasn't that hard.
Nick, I mean, Tom and Dylan would be very proud.
Yeah, I wanted to make them proud, so
That's good.
there you go.
So, Dylan's bad trophy list of the week. Jackbox Party Pack or Box 4. Apparently, it's just 20 bronzes. I don't know what he's getting upset about, because that's what has been for all the other Jackbox games. But
Really?
Yeah.
They have such a hard list
It's
to have no plat.
Yeah, it's just 20 bronzes on every game, so what are you going to do?
What are you gonna do?
I don't think people are playing those games for trophies.
No,
That's right.
I don't think
Even
people are
that's
playing those
you, which
games.
That's you has a platinum, but to get it, you have to play like 50 games or something. And I don't think there have been many people that would have played that many.
Cool. So I think that brings us to the end of the show. Jono, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on the internet at Jono himself on Twitter. And you can find me at PAX, just walking around, wearing black t-shirts probably.
This weekend.
Looking... Yeah, what did I say?
No. Apparently on Pleasure Explosion, I said
said
it was next
next
weekend. So it's definitely
it's
this
this
weekend.
weekend.
The
I'll be there
27th,
Friday
28th,
morning.
and 29th of October, 2017.
Technically, when you said that, though, Ash, it was still next weekend, because it was still
I know.
last weekend.
No, Sunday's the first day of the week.
No, wrong.
Yeah.
No, Monday is
Still the
definitely the
weekend.
first day of the week.
Monday's definitely the first day
I'm
of the
sorry,
week.
not according to the
I don't
calendar.
work Sundays, so sorry.
Well,
mate.
that I can
overruling you
understand.
on
I
this
can
one.
no, I can understand Sunday being the start of the week because it's a weekend. So it there's
No, it's the week.
There's one on
end,
each
the
end.
end of the week.
there's one on each end of the week.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, we don't need to debate that right now.
Jack, where can people
The point-
complain about weekends to you?
You can find me at Cruzy_mate on Twitter. Cruzy mate YouTube. I won't be at PAX, but if you're in Byron Bay next week, I'll be walking around. Come and say hi. I'll be wearing
If you've got
black
that
singlets and shorts.
some of those that Byron Bay product, do you want to give to Jack? Feel free.
Yeah, that Byron Bay coffee. It's my favourite coffee brand, actually. I do
Yep.
love the Byron Bay coffee. Yeah.
And you can find me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY. You can follow the show. You can follow the network at Explosion
the
Pod.
shit show.
It is a bit.
Yep. And again, you can find us at PAX. We'll be there all weekend. Me, Dylan, Jono, Kieran.
Yeah.
We'll be doing some content, so check out bit.ly
Oh man,
/Explosion Network. All our
I'm so
YouTube
excited.
videos are going to go up. I don't know what we're going to do, really.
Shit up.
I'm gonna play Detroit. I'm gonna play God of War. I'm gonna play some PSVR. It's gonna be awesome.
We want to play that Star Trek Bridge.
Yeah, we're gonna
you
play
guys.
Star Trek Bridge Crew. Or whatever
Yeah,
it's called.
we're going
I
to
hate
get
you
pink
guys.
eye.
I
gonna be
hope
great.
you get pink. I hope you get pink eye.
We'll give it to you at Extra Life.
Yeah.
No worries.
Add it as a tier, as a challenge.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much for
$1,000.
listening. And
Plat, plat.
But.
Hey, listen, Kieran here. If you haven't heard, the Explosion Network will be streaming for 24 hours and participating in Extra Life on November 4th, raising money for the Sick Kids Centre for Global Child Health. Head on over to explosionnetwork.com/extralife for all the details on how you can help us, including donating, giving us some ideas for challenges, or games you'd like to see us play. October 27th to 29th, apparently PAX Melbourne's happening, and I'm going to be there with Dylan, Ash, and Jono. So feel free to come say hey if you see us on the show floor. Then, there's a disturbance in the Force. On October 27th, we'll be launching a Star Wars podcast in the lead up to Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Of course, our weekly shows will always continue. Pleasure Explosion Mondays, Platinum Explosions on Tuesdays, and Grandstand Gurus Thursdays. All at 12 p.m. Catch our live streams where I like to dwell during the evenings at twitch.tv/Explosion Network, and keep your targets locked on explosionnetwork.com for all our explosive content. Shout out to Bevan.
hello and welcome to Platinum Explosion, the number one
The number one Oceanic.
the number one Oceanic podcast about PlayStation
In the network.
on the network. Hello and
Wanna start again?
yep.